And done. Hey everyone, Codith here. This is my Quill Soar build for the Spiritborn for Diablo 4 Season 6. Now, this isn't my main account, so I don't have all the renown or Altars of Lilith. I've got like none of those, so disclaimer. But I will be updating this planner as it goes live, and I'm actually like playing it, so stay tuned for that. But I just wanted to like show you guys like ahead of time before Vessel of Hatred launches, so you guys can see if you might like this build or not. So we're going to keep this brief though, but let's dig right into the skills. So I'm taking Soar, Vortex, the Seeker, Armored Hide, Quill Volley, and Counterattack. Let's go over to the Hall. Spirit Hall, we got Gorilla. So this gives us, deals thorns to enemies hit and grants a barrier. So the barrier is pretty nice. And all skills are now tagged as Gorilla. We'll talk about that synergy later. Taking Jaguar for the second one, maximum ferocity increased by 1, gain 1 stack of ferocity whenever you kill an enemy or damage a boss. This gives us increased attack speed, which is very nice with this build. For our, let's do the Mercenary since we're already here. Mercenary, I'm taking Rahir, and we've got Ground Slam, Rahir's Aegis for all the res, Bastion for Unstoppable and damage reduction. Then we got Inspiration for increased damage as well. This is really nice. For our other Mercenary, our Reinforcement, we've got Aldkin. He's got a casting Field of Languish. Also does damage reduction and slowing enemies, which is nice. Another form of crowd control. And let's go into the skill tree now, though. So I don't have all the skill points, but I'll go over this as best as I can. Just got 2 ranks on this first tree. We're not taking any of the basic skills, but just prerequisites. We got 5 ranks into Quill Volley, 1 into Enhanced. There's our source of Vulnerable, or one of the sources. Advantageous, that's increased multiplicative damage there. 1 rank into Vigorous, so we can get 3 into Balanced Excursion, increased core skill damage. 3 ranks into Follow Through, increased basic skill damage. 1 rank into Vortex, Enhanced for increased damage on the next skill cast. Measured Vortex as well for the knockdown effect, increased damage there. Sword, this is our mobility skill as well as the source of Vuln and Unstoppable. So we got Enhanced Soar as well. And then Measured, there's our source of Unstoppable right there. 1 rank into Focal Point, 3 into Apex for the increased damage to vulnerable enemies, and 3 into Diminishment for damage reduction. 1 point into Mirage, and then 3 into Unrestrained Power for increased multiplicative damage while you're unhindered or unstoppable. I know it doesn't show it here, but I don't have all my skill points, remember? Yeah, we'll keep the planner updated though. 1 point into Armored Hide. This is just for like a passive for us. This gives us Resolve, which gives us damage reduction, 20% damage reduction, as long as we have those stacks. And then when we activate it, we get Unstoppable and get 100% block chance for 3 seconds, which is really nice. 1 into Counterattack. This gives us a passive 10% dodge chance as well. 1 into Counterattack Enhancement, and then 1 into Reinforced Counterattack. Gives us increased multiplicative crit damage. 1 point into Resilient, 3 into Dominant. So Gorilla skills deal 15% increased damage to knock down enemies. So that's why we took the Gorilla skill on our Spirit Hall. So all of our skills are tagged as Gorilla now. Then we have a chance to execute non-bosses as well. 3 points into Brilliance. So this gives us increased damage multiplicative on our Eagle skills, depending on our movement speed. 3 until Acceleration. This gives us increased movement speed when we cast an Eagle skill. And after we evade, our next Eagle skill deals increased damage. So there's a lot of synergies here as well. Quill Volley is our main damage dealer, so that helps this a lot. That is an Eagle skill. Also a Gorilla now too. We got 5 ranks into Seeker to get that cooldown as low as possible. This Seeker is also charges as well. You notice there's 4 charges there. You can get those charges up by tempers. You'll see in the planner, or my D4 builds planner in the description. We got 1 rank into Harmonious, knocks down enemies, guaranteed critical strike on the second hit. 1 into Exalted, there's another source of Vulnerable right there. 3 points into Resolution for that increased multiplicative damage. Good for bossing. 1 rank into Spiritual Attunement, just so we can get 3 ranks into Supremacy. It's another multiplicative damage increase right there. We get stacks of Supremacy. 1 rank into Sustenance, so we can get 3 ranks into Intricacy. This is a really interesting passive for the Spiritborn. So when you cast an ultimate, the last different potency, defensive, or focus skill you cast prior to its reset can be cast for free up to 3 times for the next 5 seconds. So it also, like if you had charges, if I was taking Razor Wings, this has charges, 6 charges. If I got this down to 0 charges and I cast Seeker, this would make this 6 charges again, and it would also give me 3 free casts ahead of those charges. But we're not using that right now. We're going to use it for Soar mostly. You guys will see how this works when I show the gameplay. And we got 1 point into Vital Strikes. This gives us increased multiplicative damage to vulnerable enemies. It heals you for 2% of your maximum life. You gain Vigor, and it removes the vulnerable effect, but doesn't matter too much because we're applying Vuln like so often. Paragon, I'm not going to go over this too much because the planner's not up to date and I don't have all my Paragon points, but I started with Exploit. On the next board, I'm taking Revealing for that increased damage to crowd-controlled enemies, chance to knock down vulnerable enemies as well. I got Talon here. I'm going for Vicious Shield because we have a lot of barrier with this build. You'll see when I go over the gear and stuff for that increased damage. And then Spirit as well. But yeah, not final yet. I'll be updating this as we go when we're playing live. The gear, we're using Concussive Strikes. So this gives us like a chance to daze. We deal increased damage to daze enemies as well. We've got Might. This gives us damage reduction when we use basic skills. You might be wondering why we're using this, or we're not taking a basic skill, but you'll see soon. We've got Turbulence. Every time we cast Soar, it casts a Vortex at its landing location. So there you go, there's that Vortex. And that Vortex pulls in enemies. We got Forest Power. This gives a lucky hit chance to spawn a Mystic Circle for 10 seconds. This is also why we took the Gorilla Spirit Hall. So casting a Gorilla skill in the Mystic Circles empowers them to periodically grant you Barrier, 25% of your maximum life, and also increases your armor. So really nice defensive forest power to have here. Scorn of the Earth. This is what's turning our Evade into Soar. Also gives us Barrier and increased damage as well. For Soar, that is. Movement speed too. Rod of Kepelek. This is what's turning my core skill into a basic skill and like lowering the cost to nothing. So this is a quarterstaff. Comes with block chance, maximum resource, crit damage, chance for core skills to cast twice or to hit twice. 4 ranks to velocity, and here's the unique aspect. Your core skills are now additionally basic skills and free to cast, but deal up to 30% reduced damage based on their vigor cost. When cast at maximum vigor, your core skills consume all vigor to return to full damage, cast at their largest size, and become guaranteed critical strikes, with up to 3% increased critical strike damage for each point of vigor spent this way. So this is essentially turning this into a basic ability. You see it's got core and the basic tag. So there's a lot of wiggle room to play around with that and find synergies. I've got Moonrise here. This scales on our basic skill damage, which is our Quill Volley now. I've got Conceited. I was looking for adaptability, just have not found it yet. I would prefer adaptability, but we got Conceited for increased damage while we have Barrier. But ideally, I want adaptability. We got Rebounding here. This makes it so when we do Quill Volley, they return, as you see right there. And yeah, I don't have all the tempers here because I want to check out my materials. It is very expensive right now because I'm not on my main account, and I have limited time to test things. But I just want to like show you guys. So here's like the typical rotation what we do when I'm like fighting a boss or just monsters in general. So these I never hardly use. Armored Hide, that's for resolve, gives us damage reduction, as you see right there. There's damage reduction. This just gives us dodge chance and the crit damage as well, which is cool. So we're mainly using Soar, Vortex, Seeker, and Quill Volley. So this is kind of what it looks like. I'll do Quill Volley, I'll pop a Soar. Then when I cast my my ultimate, Seeker, you'll see the Soar is highlighted, so I get 3 free casts. So see how fast that stagger is? So you got to be careful. Like if I do Vortex and then I do Seeker, see now that's a free cast. So you really want to make sure you're paying attention to what your skill is using before you cast the Seeker. So I can get out of that, I'll cast Evade, which is also Soar. So now if I use Seeker, there we go. We're back on that one. Alright, so now we're in the pit. This is kind of what the gameplay is going to look like when you're fighting not just bosses. You guys can kind of get like a feel for this. See if you like it, see if it's your jam. I've been enjoying this build though. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm sure it's going to be like a lot better once I get this fully optimized and get all the uniques and stuff that I need, and tempers, legendary aspects, greater affixes, you know, all the jazz. Maybe even some uber uniques would be cool, or mythics. Wait, as you can see, there's no shortage of AoE here. Lots of AoE to be had. We do have our two passives up that it's giving us Resolve, which gives us damage reduction, and our other one is giving us dodge chance. Really nice to have those. Yeah, just use that eagle to get our cooldowns back up. Free casts. Okay, next zone. Yeah, I noticed that Vortex is really nice. You gotta be careful when you use the Seeker though. If you use the Vortex before you use Seeker, that's gonna be your one that gets the free charges. So you want to make sure using Soar. Like that, use Soar, then boom, use Seeker. Now we can free cast this for 3 times. And a Channeling Shrine. See, I'll just pull those guys in. Alright, let's go to the boss. Yep, and there you have it. Alright guys, that's pretty much the build in a nutshell. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I had a fun time making it. Don't forget to like, subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out here or on Twitch, Discord. I'll catch y'all later. Take care. Peace.